All right, we have the former Cage Warriors light heavyweight champion, Modestas Bukauskas, joining the show. He will make his UFC debut on July 15th, taking on Vinicius Moreira. It is on the Fight Island, Modestas. How are you?
Yeah, doing very well, thank you, mate. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. You and we've been having these chats for a little while now, wondering when this call from the UFC would come your way. It has finally come for you, but from what I understand, the call actually came a while ago, right? Before all the COVID chaos began?
Yeah. Actually, it's funny because, not to say that it was like an extremely stressful time, but, there was a point where me and my manager were trying to figure out, what was next. Because, we thought that we may potentially get on last minute on the Copenhagen card, just because, they were looking at Hamlet so strongly to be on that card that I sort of, nipped in the bud and took that spot. So, we thought that I might be able to get on that. And then when that didn't happen, that's when we defended the title. And then when we defended the title, it was sort of like up in the air. Like, do we want to fight in Cage Warriors again? Like, what's going to happen next? And what would be the best route towards the UFC? And, initially I had loads of talks with my manager. We were actually thinking to go to the Contender Series. That was like the main thing, because we're thinking, well, that's like the straight route now. You know what I mean? Like, defending a title won't really do much for my stock, as opposed to, you go into Contender Series and impress there. And then, obviously, he had talks with the matchmakers and stuff like that. And then, I work, like, I literally, if I drink a lot of water, about 6 liters a day, you know how it goes. And the next thing, I'm waking up in the middle of the night to take a pee. And then, I look at my phone. It's like 3 a.m. and I see I've had like 5 missed calls from my manager. And usually he doesn't call me unless it's something like really important. But again, I literally had no thought that he could possibly say anything to do with the UFC. I thought, oh, okay, he might need some information or whatever. Like, I was completely clueless. And then next thing you know, he goes, how you doing? I'm like, 3 a.m, I've been all right, a bit sore from training, this and that, me being a bit of a Debbie Downer, as it were. And then next thing you know, he goes, Modestas, how do you feel about fighting in the UFC? And I literally, my face just dropped. I was like, I mean, are you for real? Like, do you know what I mean? I must have said like, wow, probably about, for like the next 7 minutes. I was literally speechless. So yeah, and that happened like pretty much just at the beginning of the year. So on like the 5th of Jan or 6th of Jan or something. And then we finally announced it properly on the 16th of January. So man, it was already known. I mean, there was a lot of talks as well that, a lot of people were messaging me saying, oh, you're going to be on the London card and this and that. And to be honest, that wasn't their decision. I already knew ages ago that I would not be fighting on that unless it was like, a last minute thing. But they were sort of planning something for the summer. So then after that, I got signed for a fight on May 16th against Vinicius Moreira. And it was in San Diego. It would have been, like I say, my American debut, which I was very excited for and stuff like that. And then next thing you know, just as we signed the contracts, everything was going through, this whole bloody pandemic situation came about. And then, that stuff, that sort of, that whole thing happening. But at the end of the day, you couldn't really ask for much of a better replacement than Yars Island in Abu Dhabi for a debut on a historic event where, he literally had to go completely out of the way to be able to make it happen. So, you got to give massive credit to Dana White, the big boss, for, persevering and overcoming these terrible situations. But yeah, it's crazy to be finally in the UFC. And like I say, I'm ready to show the world what I'm made of.
Yeah, I had heard Vinicius was sort of always the debut opponent. I'd heard a lot of different dates. I even heard that the Brasilia card was a possibility to have this fight, or sometime in March. I don't know. Was the May 16th one like the first real date that came your way?
Yeah, that was the first date. Like, I remember my manager then, he messaged me and he said, yeah, so it's been confirmed, May 16th. That was literally the only date that I heard of. I mean, to be honest, like I said, there was a bit of speculation. I thought, maybe April, maybe May, I had no idea, but that was the only date that I had pretty much had been communicated to me.
Yeah, because we've seen, and you're kind of in a different situation. I think you and like Manel Cape are like two guys that are in totally different situations than everybody else, because we've seen so many fighters get the call over the years, and even over the last couple of months, they get short notice fights for like a month later, a couple weeks, and we've seen recently even like a couple days. Yours has been quite different. What has that been like for you to get that call, put pen to paper on a UFC contract, but then have to wait it out for so long for the actual debut to happen?
I'm actually very glad that I got signed the way I did and at the time that I did, because I mean, really, you couldn't have asked for any better timing than that. Right as the pandemic was going on, there was a load of uncertainty about a contender series even happening and this and that. So, to get signed, I mean, listen, from what I know, like there's only about 5 guys that got signed the way I did last year. I mean, the rest of them were from the contender series, and this year, I mean, apart from another light heavyweight guy and obviously Manuel Cape and stuff like that. You don't hear of many guys getting just signed out the blue to a contract. Like I said, like you said, most of them get signed last minute, and that's what really it's always sort of expected now. Like if there's a last minute call up, that's the prime time for guys to get signed, or the contender series. So to get signed like that, shows that like I say, I feel very privileged and honored that I got signed like that, because it shows that they do have interest in me, and they've been I mean, listen, I saw that Mick Maynard, shout out to him. He reposted my finish from Night of Champions on his personal page. So already from there, I knew that they were probably looking at me and stuff. And obviously, I didn't want to get my hopes too high, but I was like, listen, we're going in the right direction. We know what's coming up next. So I mean, and listen, at the end of the day, the fact that I knew that it was going to happen at some point, I was just very happy. Even my dad was very happy that we just had more time to improve. The longer they leave it, the worse it gets for these guys. A lot of times you see a lot of fighters stay stagnant. They don't improve. They don't level up. And I feel like I'm leveling up every single time. Doesn't matter how, I always find different ways to sort of level up and get better. And like I say, as time goes on, it just gets even worse for everybody. So I'm actually very thankful that I've had, even an extended amount of time to fully prepare, get more in my skill set, in my cardio, and, work on myself. So, it's listen, when you're in the UFC and then like the fight comes about, there's always that excitement, and like I say, you've always got that inspiration because now you're there, and there's no worry of like I still need to get signed. It's like I'm already signed, that's fine. I know it will come. It's just all in good timing. I think it's just keeping a good outlook, a good positive mindset, and yeah, like I say, when you're signed and even people talking and this or that, it just keeps you in good graces. And yeah, like I say, I'm very thankful for being given the opportunity so early in the year.
I was going to say, if there's one fighter who's going to use this extra time to their advantage, it was going to be you. How have you sort of navigated the waters in your neck of the woods with the pandemic and everything? Has it been, I don't know what the restrictions were like over there. Were you still able to, I'm sure you were able to find ways, however you can do it, to get work in, but what has that been like for you as you're trying to get ready and improve your skill set?
Well, at the end of the day, I'm very blessed to have a lot of amazing opportunities set in front of me. Like, my dad built a gym about 2 years, I think it must have been over 2 years ago now, in my back garden. We used to have this old flimsy summer house, with the walls basically every time the wind blew, you were afraid it was going to topple over. And next thing you know, we build a proper legitimate gym, noise cancelled and all that kind of stuff. And then your head coach is living in the room right next to you. When you add those two together, I mean, that's really a combination for you're never going to be able to stop training, even if you really wanted to. Do you know what I mean? And like I said, my dad never really has to push me or anything like that. I want this, and he wants me to want this as well. But it's good we can collaborate on training whenever we're doing. Nothing really much changed because we always train every day. We always do strength and conditioning whenever we need to. So, and I was able to drill a lot more with my dad. I mean, like I say, I know it will get to a point where he can't do all these movements anymore. But, the fact that he's been, putting himself on the line just to help me is absolutely amazing, which is why obviously I want to go out and make him proud and then, be able to help him out, as time goes on. But, yeah, at the beginning, the sessions where I'd have those skill-based sessions, either I'll drill a little bit more with my dad or I'll go and run. So really I was just building up the gas tank, building up the cardio, getting it ready to be able, like I said, we're ready to go 5 rounds. I mean, I know I'm only going 3 rounds now, but I want to be able to go and really put the pace on people. And then as, restrictions lowered and sort of bending the rules a little bit, I guess you could say, I bought, the good thing is when you've got a gym at home, you can just bring training partners to your house. So, I've got the training partners down to my house. We're able to train. We're like, so really in this pandemic, nothing's changed. It's actually, if anything, it's been even better because in normal sessions, like, when you go like your jiu-jitsu, your wrestling and this and that, you're at the helm of the coach. Like the coach sort of navigates what you're going to be training, what you're going to be doing. And at the end of the day, it's absolutely amazing because it's a skill building sort of, those are skill building sessions. You're sort of improving your overall knowledge, but it's not necessarily specific to what I want to sort of learn or if I want to go over something. So, I was then able to have everything's now been a lot more specific to me. This is why I'm very grateful and very thankful for all my training partners. They're doing everything they can possible just to make me better. And obviously, through them trying to make me better, and then makes them better. So overall, it's just a collective, a team effort. Do you know what I'm saying? So like I said, everything being more specific to me means that I feel like my skill set has really evolved in those areas where I felt I was weaker. So, being able to do that and drill more and go over the moves that I wasn't able to go to before. I mean, like I said, if anything, I think the quarantine has made has altered my training in a positive way as opposed to a negative where, maybe other fighters haven't been, had access to those facilities or anything like that. So, yeah, man, like I say, and as the restrictions lowered now, like I say, it's the best training I could possibly have.
Does it feel like you're a UFC fighter right now, all things considered, or do you have to make that walk and sort of get that first one out of the way before that feels real to you?
Well, listen, I've been visualizing that moment, for ages. Like, if you can imagine, you've got all these months to even think about it, to even see it happening. But it's good because I like to see the arena. I like to on pictures at least, so that when I'm sitting there and thinking about it in my head, I can see it all perfectly and clearly. But yeah, now mate, I've always been feeling like for the last 5 months I've been feeling like I've been walking to the cage every single day with them UFC gloves, the Reebok stuff, and so I think the more you get climatized it into your mind, that at the end of the day, this is where I want it to be. Like, the fact that this is what I believe to be my next natural progression, my next step, and this is where I felt like this is where my career would really start going. Like, this is where all the exciting stuff happens. This is where you can really make good money. This is where you can really make a name for yourself. I was excited for that. This is now where the career really begins. Everything leading up to that was just to get to this point, and now it's to really make an impact. This is where you can do it because it's the biggest bloody fighting organization in the world. So you can't really ask for better. So as soon as I got signed, and I felt obviously it felt surreal at the beginning, but now I'm like, well, this is what I've been wanting this whole time. So at the end of the day, I embrace pressure, I embrace crazy situations. So when I strap up them gloves and I'm walking out to the cage, this is it. This is my life. This is what I've been wanting. So I enjoy it, I embrace it, and I can't wait to go and put on a show.
It's a good thing you embrace the crazy because this is exactly what's happening for you in your debut. And I'm curious because I know how it works here in the States for the American fighters. Like, the Fight Island travel has been laid out pretty specifically. Like, they're going to fly to Las Vegas in the next couple of days. They're going to get tested, quarantined for 48 hours. Then they're going to hop on a charter to Abu Dhabi, get tested again. And then more things are put in place to make sure everyone is safe as possible. What is that like for you? Like, how is that going to work? Like, what's sort of the checkpoint for you? And then what happens from there?
It's exactly the same. It's exactly the same as for the American fighters, except I believe all of the fighters are from similar areas. So, all the guys from Britain will be leaving from one airport. All the guys from Brazil are going to be leaving from one airport. All the guys from Russia are going to be leaving from one. So everyone's going to be leaving. I think there's 4 main hub cities that they're all leaving from. And obviously my one's going to be London. I'm lucky I'm the closest one to the airport. I think I'm a 20-minute drive from the airport, which is nice. But I think all the other fighters are from Liverpool and up north. So I know it's going to be a bit and from Wales and stuff like that. So I know that's going to be a bit more of a long journey for those guys. But yeah, it's exactly the same. We have to be 48 hours before we fly. We have to arrive to get COVID tested, wait for our results. You go on the plane by charter, you get over there, you get tested again, you have to be quarantined. They're taking this stuff seriously. I mean, there was a lot of speculation about, how's it going to work? Are guys going to be tested? Is this dangerous? And this and that. And then at the end of the day, they've been doing an absolutely amazing job. The first time they were trying to just feel the waters and see how it would go, and now they put a proper system in place. So, like I say, I couldn't be happy with the way that the UFC is organized. They're doing it very professionally, as you'd expect from, a probably billion-dollar company. Do you know what I mean? They're doing everything right. They're doing everything in their power to ensure the safety of their fighters, which is absolutely amazing. Like I said, couldn't really ask for better.
Is there much of a time difference between where you're at now to the time in Abu Dhabi? Like in the States, it's like 6 or 7 hours ahead. So in comparison, these fights would happen at like 10 a.m. Eastern time for a lot of these East Coast fighters. They're going to be kicking off these cards at like 3 a.m. Eastern time in the United States over in Abu Dhabi. Like, is there much of a time difference for you?
Yeah, so from what I understand, it's 3 hours. So they're 3 hours ahead of us, like in just general time. So, and obviously they've had to cater the Abu Dhabi time frame to American fans. So from what I understand, the shows will be starting at like 7 p.m. Eastern time in the US on the Wednesday, but we're actually going to be fighting on the Thursday. So it'd already be Thursday. So it's like,
right.
I think from my fight should be probably around 2 a.m. In the morning UK time, which means that in Abu Dhabi it'll be around 5 a.m. I mean, that's going to be a whole nother experience in itself, just bloody fighting at 5 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I think the time difference in terms of having 3 hours is really not going to make that much of a difference. I don't think jet lag's going to even really play a part in it. But obviously, I'm going to have to climatize myself to getting up and ready to go at 4 o'clock, ready to go in and do the business. So, obviously there's going to be a bit of, climatization in terms of, time frame of when the fight's going to be, because I'm usually, I've been used to fighting at 11 o'clock at night and stuff like that, especially my last couple of fights. But now it's going to be, 5 o'clock in the morning. So I know it's going to be a bit of a crazy, and even the weigh-ins are going to be later. So, to cater to that. So everything's going to be a little bit different. So sort of, I guess you could say a little bit chaotic, but in a good way. It's nice to have an experience where things are a little bit different, because like I said, it's going to be remembered. This whole event is going to be remembered when you look back in the history books. So to go out and make an absolute statement and do it with spectacular fashion is exactly what I'm going to go out there and do.
I'm curious, Modestas, because we're all hearing about this majestic, mysterious fight island, and all of us are imagining beaches and tiki torches and Hawaiian shirts and sunglasses and suntan lotion on the nose. Turns out it's Yas Island in Abu Dhabi, and I'm sure you're pumped, and I know you're excited to be part of like a historical series of events here. But were you like, this is not as cool as I expected it to be? I thought we were going to see something like old school Bodog fights.
I mean, listen, I don't know if you saw the videos that they released by Dana White of the just like the construction of Yas Island and stuff like that. I mean, listen, it looks pretty damn cool. Like everything that they're doing, all the infrastructure that they're doing themselves, they've all built it from scratch. They made like a massive arena for it and everything. Like, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, yes, of course, the fantasy type deal is, it's on a beach, like you said, with the whole sort. But in reality, you think of it like that, and it sounds like really good on paper. But when you think of it from a industrial sort of standpoint, you're thinking, well, how they're going to, in 40-degree heat, how the hell are they going to put the, make it so that that the temperature is not too bad? How are they going to do it to, on a remote island, be able to build everything from scratch? Clearly, they needed to have some sort of infrastructure already there so they can sort of just build upon that. So there's a lot of things. Obviously, it sounded really amazing, just to sort of dream about it and stuff like that. And then, but, at the end of the day, you sort of got to look at things, I guess, realistically. I think at the beginning, everyone was like, this is going to be. But I think it's still just as cool. I mean, listen, the fact that he's renting out that particular space, which is still secluded from everywhere else, he's building external stuff on top of it just to cater to the fighters themselves, is absolutely amazing. I mean, like I said, there's not many bosses in the world that would literally go that extra mile just to get international fight, even flying by charter flights of that's a win in my book. Do you know what I mean? It's not many people that get to go on a charter flight. So there's a lot of yeah, there's a lot of positives there. I mean, yes, it would have been great, like I said, like like them old computer games that you got for like I don't know, like Tekken or Mortal Kombat. Like imagine like there's like a cage like right there by the beach and everything. It's like it's like you feel like you're in a computer game almost, like the old what was it, Tekken tag team tournament or something. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it would feel like that, but. Yeah, like I said, I'm very happy with how everything still managed to turn out. And like I said, I can only imagine what it's going to be like whenever everything gets released. Like now we're only like pretty much almost a week out from their first event. So I'm very curious to see what the whole thing will look like whenever, everything gets done. So.
I mean, either way, your Octagon debut is coming up on July 15th, whether it's on Fight Island or Treasure Island or Fantasy Island, and you're taking on a really tough guy in Vinicius Moreira. How do you see this thing all playing out? How do you sort of envision it in your mind?
I envision a very aggressive and a very vicious performance on my behalf. I feel that the sort of mindset I've taken, the training that I've done, the work that I've put in, and the mindset that I have, to help my family and do things like that, it just gives me that extra inspiration. Like now I've come out with a new mindset of just being able to embrace those crazy chaotic situations, the pressure situations, the ones that are supposed to make you scared, the ones that even being on a TV show and doing all that kind of stuff, and the stuff that people would not want to do, and for me to really come out my shell and really show who I am. Like I think all these experiences that I've had are just leading for me to be able to show it even more in the cage. And this is a very tough opponent. It's good on paper. He's very tough, so it will look good for me to go out and really put on a show. So I feel that I'm going to severely hurt him from stand up and just really dishearten him, the fact that he won't be able to take me down. I predict I'm going to knock him out, and I'm looking to knock him out in the first round. Listen, you don't know how a fight is going to go. Obviously you need to keep calm and keep doing it, but listen, I'm going to land those shots, and when they do, they're going to hurt. So that's what I predict for the fight.
So you alluded to it because a couple of interviews ago we talked about your appearance on Take Me Out UK. It's a dating show, and you weren't able to find a love connection there. However, it seems like you may have found yourself a match since then. Did Cupid finally fire his arrow in your direction, Modestas?
Like very unexpectedly once again. This is just how it goes with me. Everything just comes out unexpectedly. Do you know what I mean? But I'm glad it sort of happens. Like I think that's the best way that it happens, when you're not really searching for it. Like I say, listen, mate, I was enjoying the single life. I was doing what I was doing, and at the end of the day, it just came about out of nowhere. Added me on Instagram, liked a couple. You know how it goes. Liked a couple of photos, you like them back, you start messaging each other, and then this, that, and then next thing you know, we just get on like a house on fire. She really truly cares about what I do, and like I say, so everyone's trying to find their D Devlin. You know what I mean? How much she supported Conor McGregor through all those times, and like I say, she's done a hell of a lot, even just for me, just leading up to even just knowing that I had a fight and stuff like that. So, I think there was a lot of qualities that she had that I've never really found in a girl. And like I said, it was usually me sort of just going out and just seeing like loads of different people and stuff like that, and just sort of just making connections. But with her, we made a bit of a stronger connection. And I'm very thankful and happy and grateful, because it's been an absolute blessing, and it makes me more focused, and it gives me more things to be excited about, and it just makes life in general like a lot more it just makes things in the future, you're looking for it with the fighting, with her and stuff like that, just to sort of all come together. And like I said, I can't wait for all that. And she understands that fighting comes first, so as much as obviously I love spending time with her. I've got to say sorry to her. At the end of the day, but she understands. I've got to go and train. I've got to go do what I've got to do. I've got to go and do the business. So I'm grateful that she does, because no other girl's done that before. But listen, we're gonna make everyone even more proud when we go and whoop this dude on July 15th.
That's amazing. So that meet cute moment that we discussed a couple of times ago, where you walking on the street and drop something on the ground and you suddenly lock eyes, that didn't happen. This was a social media connection.
Yeah, I guess locked eyes on the social media front, maybe.
Yeah.
There's a couple of video and Zoom calls that maybe that might have happened. So, yeah, it all worked out well, man.
And you guys discovered, you discovered beer pong. Did I see that? Is that accurate? You're now a future beer pong heavyweight champion.
Yeah, I mean, listen, yeah, I've got the beer pong travel jacket and everything, mate. That's it. We're making moves on that scene as well. Do you know what I mean? I mean, listen, they always say you can't just have one income revenue stream. So, I'm building towards that, where we're getting the skill set up in every area. The hand-eye coordination's top notch, mate. Now, I mean, listen, I went to go and hang out with her and stuff like that. And, for me, it was hydration pong, or more like pass all the beers to my girlfriend and me do the skill work. She does the drinking work. So either way, we made a very good system. It seemed to work very well because obviously everyone else's accuracy seemed to diminish over time, whereas mine just continued to steadily keep getting better. So, like I say, finding all sorts of crazy new skills over this quarantine. And like I say, even more of my skill set is going to be shown on fight nights. So, like I said, can't wait.
All these changes in your life since we last spoke, Modestas. Look at you. You're off the market, future beer pong world champion, future UFC champion. Things are happening very quickly, are they not?
Oh yeah, mate. I've got to say, you must be some sort of good luck charm. Every time I've been speaking to you before and after all the interviews and everything, listen, now you've got an amazing work in the MMAfighting.com, which I've got to give you massive congratulations for. Definitely well deserved. So see, as you're rising up, I'm rising up, mate. We're just going to keep rising up to the top together. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's big thing coming for both of us, and like I say, I'm just ready for this whole journey. So everything's been going well, but now we're going to make it so things are going to go even better.
Congratulations on all of them, Modestas. I mean, very happy for you to get this call to the UFC. It's well deserved. Excited for the matchup. Excited for this whole card. I mean, you're sharing a card. You got Calvin Kattar versus Dan Ige in the headliner spot. You get to set the table for those guys. It's a really good fight card. All the best to you in the fight, and safe travels to Abu Dhabi, man. We'll talk soon.
Oh, thank you so much, my friend. Really, thank you for having me on and everything. And like I said, I can't wait to put on a show for you on the night.